outlook. We about to check the chart and see what the market is offering us today. So let's start with gold. So on the daily time frame on gold, what we can see is that price after taking out this low, we've respected our target to the left and we moved up to the upside, took out some sellers, and from there we are trapping the people that bought price. So at the moment we are heading for these highs, but I want to state this before I even talk about the trade. Everybody at the moment is selling gold, and it's also a form of inducement, and it poses a higher risk of getting trapped. But the strategy I'm using tells me that I should short to this low, but there's that risk. So if gold takes this low, I'm also interested in it taking what this higher time frame low at the moment. So this is what I'm seeing for gold at the moment. It is kind of aggressive, so I'll be waiting for a little bit of pullback to the upside, then I would engage. So you can see that we've mitigated the zone. So let's wait for that pullback. Once we get an inducement, then we look for the shorts back to these lows. This low to be precise. This will need further price action because price could what head to the highs and take whatever position you are in out. So heading on to Euro US. Euro US is starting with the weekly. What we can see is that price has respected the zone. We've seen the sell-off take out this low, and we are respecting our target to the left. From there, we've seen this buyer trapping these sellers and inducing buyers. So we are heading back to our target low at the moment. So what we can see is that we are edging at the lows currently, and Euro USD is at that point of taking the lows, but there's still a very small chance of us getting into price at the moment. What we can see is, let me head to the 4 hour for this. What we can see is that after price was respected the low to the left, we saw this move to the upside, taking out some uh, sellers, and we are seeing it move back to the lows. So what we can expect price to do is what? Respect this low, trap some early sellers, then from there we could see some shots back to the lows. And if you would take a position around here, you have to what target this low, because position is very important. This low to the left is a major low, is the low that this price action is respecting. You can see we are respecting this demand zone at the moment, or you can call low. So once this low gets taken out, your position can be what taken out before we see another move to the downside, because price doesn't move in one direction. It's not just going to sell all the way, but it's also a possibility, and it could also happen. But for the best trade, you should short to the low I've mentioned. So on GBP USD, starting off with the weekly time frame. On GBP USD on the weekly time frame, what we can see is that we have taken out this high. We are expecting the liquidity to the left. So from that respect, we've seen as what sells the downside. We've mitigated this area at this point, or this demand zone, and it has caused us to what move to the upside, trapping these sellers and inducing buyers. So right now we are about to take what the liquidity that was left when we mitigated the zones. So on the daily time frame, what we can see is that we are respecting a wick to the left after price was moved to the upside, and we are still respecting this zone also to the left, and let's see what that will bring. So at the moment, what we can see GPUSD do is that we've mitigated this week. We've seen this bullish price action. We've seen it take out some sellers, and we are seeing what sell off. At the moment, if you would like to enter GBUSD, like Euro USD, don't target this low, target this low. I believe we could see a short position from here back to these lows. Yesterday, I was in a trade on GBUSD. Uh, I saw it take out these highs. I saw it would respect a zone to the left. I saw it induce buyers. So I believed with this, sellers were trapped and buyers were induced, and my trade will lead me to the downside. But surprisingly, Euro USD, sorry, surprisingly, Euro USD was selling and GBP USD was buying. So maybe it was something fundamental that caused it to move up, or maybe I was just wrong with the direction. But today I believe price will what sell back to these lows. Like I said, target this low. But there's still a possibility that price will what reach this low from your position. But it's just safer to be at the right side. So on AD USD on the weekly time frame, what we can see AD do is that after we have taken out a high to the left and respecting this week, we can see it would sell off aggressively at the moment. On the daily time frame, what we can see AD do was that we respected the zone to the left. We induced buyers by trapping these sellers, and we've seen what the sell off back to the lows. AD USD currently is very, very, very bearish. So we just have to what wait and let it do its thing, build more price action. When we get an inducement from this zone, we could short again. I believe AD USD is what coming to this lows. So we just have to be patient. On USD card at the moment is not tradable for me. As you can see, we are edging at the highs of the candle, because at the weekly or for the weekly candle, this is the high, this is the low. You understand? We've already made a low for the week, and the number of pips between this high, let me delete this. The number of pips between the high of the week and where price currently is very, very dangerous to even be thinking about anything. You can see 10 pips. So for USD card, I'm not seeing anything. If you enter a position, it will be a waste of time, and spread will just cost the trade. And on UJ, starting off with the weekly, what you can see is that we've taken out this wick to the left of this zone we have mitigated, but not the extreme one, which is this high. And we can see that from after taking out that wick, we've seen what a retracement, and we are seeing it was buy to the upside. I believe we can catch the longs to this high and even add maybe a few pips, maybe 10 or 20 to our longs, because we are at what all-time highs, and you know what happens at all-time highs. Price can what continue to just keep buy. So we can even add it to our trade to long our to make our risk to reward what bigger. So that's on the weekly. So on the daily, sorry, on the 4 hour, what we can see is after stopping out this week, that's the week to the left and having this retracement, we've seen it what buy to the upside. So one thing is that this week has mitigated what the higher time frame zone, which is this side, this price action. And from there, we've seen what this sell off. So, what the sell off did is what induced sellers. Then we've seen this move to the upside, and we've seen it what come and trap other people, and before induce sellers once again. I would have taken longs at this point to the side, but I was not at the markets currently. But let's see what the markets will provide for us. Right now, we are just looking forward to a trap to enter. And one thing about this price action is that it doesn't want anybody to get involved, because once it breaks the higher time frame targets, it moves up aggressively. I might be wrong, but from experience, I believe that's what's going to happen on UJ. So once you get an inducement and it looks nice for a long position, hold your trade, because you can get more out of UJ. So that's it for the daily market outlook. Have a good day.